All right. Looks like we're live and good to go. Let me get everything here so I can see okay. See what we're doing. And I'm oddly enough about a minute early, so I'm going to give a little time for everybody to go ahead and catch up and get on here with us. But I'm also going to get this loaded on my phone so that I can hopefully have it work so I can see comments both ways. Hello, Kathy from California. I don't know why that name, I need to fix that name. Hi, Debbie. Good afternoon. Hello, Diane. Welcome, everybody. One last, Leah is still gone. She will be home in time for Facebook Live on Thursday. So if you're tired of watching and listening to me, you'll get a little bit of variety again here soon. Hello, Patricia, and hello, Dee. Hi, Leah. Mary Ann Baker, welcome. Glad you could join us. And bonus on Thursday when Leah's going to be here. That's going to be your first sneak peek of the release that is happening next week. Right now it's scheduled, get my calendar, on the 29th. I couldn't remember the day. Hello, Bridget and Sharon and Suzanne and Linda from Virginia. Welcome, everybody. All right. Hi, Misty. All right, a couple more minutes and I'm going to just sip a little more of my tea here. You ever have one of those days where you just have a hard time focusing and you can't think, and then you realize it's like 1 in the afternoon and you kind of forgot about something important like caffeine? I don't drink coffee, but yeah, so I'm chugging that first cup of tea now, and since it's nice weather here, I'm going for iced tea. So, oh, I didn't know Leah was still going to be in Texas on Thursday. So we might chat about that if she's all set up and can do it there. If you can't, I can always take one more day if needed. All right. So maybe you will have to listen to me again, but I bet Leah's got it figured out and setting up there. So, all right. Hello from New Zealand. Welcome, Anne. And Southern Indians from Southern, is that Indiana? I bet that's supposed to be Indiana. Clarkston, Washington, fellow Washington Stater. Okay, real quick, it looks like we've got a few people on here, and now that we're actually past our official start time, since I always forget it takes longer to get on Facebook Live than it does on YouTube Live. So switching back and forth just kind of messes up my routine, so I was a little early today. But really quickly here, we're gonna use some of the last release that happens to still be in stock. I am probably going to say this wrong. I always have this feeling of just say it with confidence and no one will know, but I'm pretty sure someone is going to be on here who's going to know and tell me if it's right or wrong. The Bougainvillea print. That's my best guess at it. So we're going to use the stamp set. The hot foil plate is out of stock, but it will be back in stock soon. But I hadn't used the stamp set yet anyway. And I'm going to use it with those coordinating stencils. And I'm also going to show you a trick because these are red rubber. We always say that if you're going to use the stamp with the stencils together, to do the stamping first and the stenciling, I'm going to show you a little trick that I have that you can do the stenciling first. So you can still use those alignment guides and then still stamp and line up with the red rubber. So we're also going to do it on pink cardstock instead of white, just to be a little more fun. All right, so hi, Donna. I saw Daniel chime in there. Welcome. And a few other people. So glad everybody could join us. Bougainvillea. Peggy got it on there. Is that how it's really said? Bougainvillea. Okay, I will take your word for it. So I might still say it wrong again because now it's in my head wrong, but I'm going to do my best. Bougainvillea. All right, there we go. And make sure and leave comments. All of those great comments that everyone's leaving, all of those count as an entry for a $15 gift card that Leah will pick at the end when we wrap things up. And if you have a question, let me know. I am really winging it this morning. I kind of have the idea of what we're starting with, and I have no idea where it's going to go from there. So I might miss some of the comments. Leah usually catches them if I miss. If you ask and somehow both of us miss, feel free to ask again. I try and watch comments while I'm going, but it doesn't always go well. So I will do my best, I promise. And I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and see if we can get started. Someone else said the same thing, Bougainvillea. Bougainvillea. Okay, I'm going to do my best to get that in my head. I'll probably say it lots during this just to make sure, but let's go ahead and get that camera switched and see if we can get started here. Get my cord for my camera and laptop out of the way. Make sure we're zoomed in where we should be for this today. I should have cleaned my desk before I started. I can see that. Let me do a quick little, I think I have embossing powder on there. Okay. Oh, wild everywhere in the Bahamas. Okay, the other thing I didn't even realize, I popped online to look it up on Pinterest. Hi, Carissa. I see Carissa's in the house too. So, I mean, there's this beautiful stamp stencil example, or just stencil on its own on the back of the stamp set. But when I looked it up on Pinterest, most of what it pulled up was really, hold on, I'm going to zoom in just a little more here on my camera. Bear with me real quick as I do that. I think that's going to be easier to see. We'll correct that if I'm wrong. Okay. So they were all really bright, bold, happy pinks. And I love this example on the back. And a lot of times I use that as a start for what I'm going to use. But for this particular, hold on, I got to fix my camera here. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my view so I can see everything. Okay, so I decided to go really bright and bold, kind of like what I pulled up on Pinterest. And just for fun, I liked the example here on the back. It looked like it was on a really soft pink piece of cardstock. This is some old paper tray ink, just soft pink cardstock that I have in my stash. So I thought I'd go ahead and try it on that with these bright, bold colors. And then I'm going to heat emboss with white over the top. So, and Marianne, yes, in Washington State, it's been beautiful, unusually beautiful weather for April. So I'm just soaking in. I've got my window open and the sun coming in. This is the coordinating hot foil plate. I'm not using that today since it's out of stock, but it will be back in stock soon. That'd be fun to switch over and focus on the stamp set a little bit with the stencils. Okay. Yeah, and they also, I did, Chantal, I saw some white and some yellow, and I really think it'd be fun to do those, but it just jumped out at me, that bright, bold, happy pink. So I just kind of thought, you know what, let's just go for that. So, okay. And it'll look different on that pink cardstock too, which is kind of fun as well. Okay. I'm going to start off, my little favorite way of doing this is to put Post-it tape on the back of that panel. Just inexpensive, easy to remove. Anything will work for that. And then I can line up those corner notches, starting with stencil 1, says right up there. And just, again, just line up on all 4 of those corners and then press it in place there. Okay, let's start off here with some sparkling rose for that pink. Something fun about just tone on tone. And I did test just enough to make sure that that the green would show up good on this pink, and it worked really, really well. So I was happy to sort that out. And I'm kind of going with Leah's trick a little bit here, and I'm stenciling over the whole thing, but trying to go a little bolder on the base of it just to get a little variation. So I'm just running over all the, are we zoomed in enough? Good. Looks like we're good there. Oh, yay. Chantel, what a fun spot to live in a tropical climate. Not jealous. Actually, I love visiting tropical climates. Like, really love it and miss it, as I'm sure a lot of people do. But I really love where I live too. So I certainly cannot complain, even a little bit. I love the different seasons that we get here, so. Okay. And then the last one here. And again, just as with on normal white cardstock, this is also going to soften up as this, because it's dye ink again. So as it sinks in and dyes the paper, the colors are going to soften up a little. And especially with heat embossing over the top, I've definitely noticed that that will soften up the color a lot as we go along. Okay. Yeah, Canada is not so tropical, Angie. All right, first layer there. Doesn't look like much yet, but we'll keep building it up. So we're gonna go ahead and just move right on here to stencil 2. And for this one, I'm gonna move on to our lightest green color, which in this case is gonna be Grassy Knoll. Oh, I love my blending brushes. Love, love, love them. Okay, so I went with, I did test a couple of greens out on this pink cardstock, just enough to kind of see what I liked. And I really liked how the more yellow greens, instead of the mint and meadow and that whole mix, I liked how these kind of popped out and showed a little brighter and happier on that pink cardstock. So that's kind of why I went for this color for this. But you can play with, oh, fun, Marie. I just can't get enough of these fun stencils. I can say that for sure. It just never gets old. Okay. And it definitely changes the tone. You'll probably notice that pretty quick doing it on the pink cardstock. This would also be fun to do on gray cardstock, on craft cardstock. If you did tone on tone, I think a blue cardstock would probably be really fun for this. If you did the flowers in some blues and then did the greens for the flowers. Yellow might work really well if you wanted to do the yellow flowers. The great thing is this is the crafty world. You don't even have to, I mean, I looked on Pinterest just because I wanted to see what they look like in real life, but you can really make them whatever you want them to be. These are not labeled. They are the life-changing blender brushes from Picket Studios, I think is what the name. Sorry, I had to think about that. Okay, reveal number 2. Love that bright, bold color. Already that I think would be super fun with the stencil. So there's lots of different blending brushes I use and I like. These just happen to be the ones that I pull out pretty often. And I really like how they work with the Pink Fresh Studio inks for ink blending. I'm seeing everybody talking about flowers. Okay, what are we doing next? Bubblegum. Going for the next bright pop of pink here. Just layering that up. I didn't want a super huge change between the colors, so I'm going fairly bold on this one because again, all this color is going to soften out a little as it sinks into the paper. So I'm not too worried about it being too dark, especially by the time we add that detail white heat embossing over the top. Yes, I think Nicole Spire had done some in yellow that I loved. Like I said, I've seen a few of these. I've used just the hot foil plate. I think I just did it in gold on green and didn't even use the stencils. So this is my first time even using these stencils. Okay, another magical reveal. Are you ready? And that little bit of detail that adds, I mean, every time I do these stencils for the first time, literally every time, boy, I couldn't even say literally there. I do the first 2 layers and I'm like, I should just stop. It's perfect. Why add any more? And then I add the rest and I'm like, nope, Nope, I'm glad I added those. The same brush, the question there about the brushes, I just use one brush per color family. And so this is my one, I just label it green. If I'm going from a darker green to a lighter green, I just use a microfiber cloth and just go over it a few times until it kind of comes clean. But they were clean before I started, and I'm going from my lightest to my darkest color. So I haven't been too crazy. I have ink on my fingers here real quick. I just want to get rid of those before I smudge on something I don't want to. Yeah, so I haven't been too particular about cleaning them in between. So key lime is going to be our next and final green color here. Just add that detail on here real quick. And then we're going to give this possibly here a few minutes to dry before I stamp over the top. Because I definitely have found, I mean, these aren't embossing inks by any means, but with all the ink blending and the heavy ink that we're laying down, it'll grab that embossing powder. Yes, I think someone's asking. And Barbara, Barb, trying to figure out the YouTube name there. The great thing is the hot foil, the stamps, all of them work together. So what we wanted to provide was, we knew not everybody has hot foil. I didn't even have hot foil until hot foiling capabilities until this released. Here's that final magic reveal. Part of me almost doesn't want to stamp over this. So the great thing is it gives the options of, if you don't want a hot foil, no problem. You can grab the stamps. If you have hot foil and really want to do that, you can get the hot foil. If you have full set syndrome or anything like that, you can do them both, or if you just want the variety and the possibilities. So it's really nice how they kind of interchange. Isn't that beautiful? And then there's also the option like this. You can stencil it and and then not even do the stamp or the hot foil. Let's see, rubbing off some of the ink. Most of why I do that is it just, I have a glass mat. So when I kind of do that with my brush, you dip in the ink, it just kind of softens a little bit the ink you have on there. So you don't get blobs of ink or, just like a sudden really dark and then light. So that's kind of why I do it, is getting that ink off. And then because it's a glass mat, I can come back and pick that ink up again. So it's definitely not something you have to do. It's just kind of been a habit in my time of ink blending that I kind of find helps me a little bit. Okay. Clean that off because I had a dirty desk. And then, yeah, and there's a couple of people commenting on the same thing. Okay, so before we move on, stamping on this, again, I'm just trying to give it a little bit of time to dry. Let's decide. I didn't even decide which sentiment I wanted to use today. I like that one. That one would be a good one. Paper hug until I see you again. And I'm not even sure. The unpaid therapist. I like that one too. Okay, let's just pick one of these. And let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. We'll let that dry just a little bit more. I've got a scrap of white cardstock. I think that's what I'm going to use, but we might change our mind, and then we can deal with that. Do this one. A little paper hug until I see you again. I'm just going to pop that on and stamp this in some black. I debated on a die cut sentiment or something. Okay, hold on. There we go. It just gets clicked on there just right in my fingers. I have no fingernails, so it's hard for me to get a hold of that. This is my detail black just cube that I'm using to stamp this. But I didn't want to cover up too much of this background. I just wanted to really make sure we let that shine. Okay. Yes, the stencils, they absolutely make things come together so quickly. That is by far one of the beauties of these stencils. Because you could color, I mean, I know a lot of people color and are very good at it. Some people don't. I like to color sometimes, but I don't always have time to sit and just color and color and color. Lori, this one is, I believe, 18 by 24 is what I want to say. It is a We Are Memory Keepers glass media mat. Got it from Leah's recommendation, and the best price we found on it was HSN Home Shopping Network. And see, and that's great, that washi Estelle. I see what you say there. Each one is just a little bit different. That is, you can easily change them up, but it shortens the time you have to put into that. All right, let's just set this aside for now. And I think by now, I'm hoping this has had a chance to dry. So let's give it a good dose over with my powder tool before we move on to this next part. And then I'll probably do one more powder tool bit here. All right, so here's where that trick comes in. Let's get the misty in a minute. So first of all, I'm gonna use the Post-it tape I used to hold that stencil in place. A little bit of recycling. And this is just a piece of printer paper, just some cheap scrap paper. And this is what I'm going to use just to kind of hold it in place as we do this. And any clear kind of acetate sheet is what you're going to want for this. This is actually just a clear card envelope, card sleeve. It's what I use to store all my finished cards in. So I'm going to grab some good sturdy tape. This is Scotch Delicate Surface Tape. He picked it up for me from Home Depot. I'm going to tape that in place. Oh, that's a good idea. I just saw someone, the glimmer machine to dry inked or watercolor. Ah, that's a good idea too. Usually I just kind of give it some time and let it go. Okay, so I'm only attaching this at the bottom because I want to kind of make it as a hinge. And again, any clear acetate, anything, my Misty's kind of dirty there, so you have to bear with me. Then what we're going to do is grab this stamp, let off of its clear backing, and I'm just going to line it up on here, pick it up with the lid of my Misty. And then I just used, I'm not using our detail black because it stays a little too well on some things. So I'm using just the dark licorice because I want it to show up on that acetate without being hard to clean off my stamp or anything, since I want to emboss this with white. So I don't want to have to spend a lot of time cleaning. So I'm just going to quickly stamp that just enough that I can see it there on that clear acetate. And then we can position this underneath. I'm hoping this shows up on the screen enough for you guys to see. I can tell exactly when I get that perfectly aligned. And then I can hold it in place from the outer edges without having to get in the way of where we're going to stamp. And if I move it or need to adjust it ever so slightly, it's very easy to do and slide it into place just to make sure I'm happy with where it's aligned. And then I'm going to clean the ink off of this clear acetate just so when I fold it back, I don't get ink on my fingers or anywhere else that I don't want to. There's still a little on there, but that's okay. And then I usually just grab a teensy tiny piece of tape just to hold that back off the top of my MISTI. Hoping, there we go, make sure that that's on, just so that that doesn't flop back down and get in the way of what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna clean this off, because if I was gonna do it in color, this wouldn't matter. I wouldn't even need to clean this. But I'm gonna stamp it with clear embossing ink and emboss it in white. I debated on gold. I think we're just gonna go with white today. So I'm gonna come back in, go over again with that powder tool, hoping this has dried enough not to want to hold on to all of that embossing powder, but we'll figure it out as we go. If it does, we'll just deal with it this time. But that is a great idea to use your glimmer machine. You can also use your heat gun, but I didn't want to warp it at all when I wanted it to hold nice and flat for this. Crease that paper over so it just stays out of our way. All right, and I'm going to stamp this a couple times just to make sure I've got a really great impression. I can actually see it a little bit on this, even though it is that clear embossing ink. It's because it's colored cardstock. I think it shows up ever so slightly more than it normally would. Okay, so let's go for 3 times. And then I'm going to pop this off that background. Slide this out of the way for now. Come in with our white embossing powder. Oh, it looks like we're pretty good. There's a little bit more embossing powder sticking than I would really love, but it's not too bad. Again, if I was doing this on my own, I probably would have stenciled a few different things and then come back and finished that. I think as long as I tap, there's only a couple little spots where it's clinging that I really don't want it to. So again, I'm pretty happy with that. Inkjet transparency, yeah, that or acetate. And I've seen people actually have, yeah, like a transparency sheet that's totally designed for that on the MISTI. That's just kind of my quick trick way, because I always think about it like, oh, I should probably get myself, you know, some of that acetate, but I have clear things I can use, so that works. All right, and let's go ahead and heat emboss this real quick. Tape off the back there. And I think we got everything on there. Isn't that pretty? I was really hoping that would, oh, let's see, Linda. So today is not, this one's from the most recent release. I saw her asking about if this is a new set sneak peek. There's going to be a sneak peek on Thursday, so you're going to want to make sure and come back for that. This one, unfortunately, is just a same old, same old. All right, I think we should die cut this panel. Yes, the white embossing powder. If I did this on white, it would still look neat. But I think that pink background, it really makes that white pop. I'm super duper happy with that. And those fun, bright colors. Okay, let me grab. There we go. Sorry, I told you I didn't know what I was doing, so I had to go run and grab die to cut that with. Let's do the diagonal stitched rectangles today. I alternate a lot between this and just the regular stitched rectangles. Glad everyone's enjoying this. I know we've had so many questions about why are we with the cling stamps stamping first and then adding our stenciling. So I thought it'd be fun to show you a way that you can do both, that you can use it the other way. All right, I still have my Spellbinders machine handy because I've been doing so much hot foiling lately. I'm just going to do this instead of pulling out my Gemini or going over to that. I don't have any more die cutting today, but I'll keep this handy just in case. You never know, we might come up with something else that we want to do. Like I said, I haven't fully shut the door on all of what we're going to do today on this. So, especially as I'm looking at the time and going, we are doing really well for time. Okay, so I do know I'm going to add this on there. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a white card base. Here's where actually debating on just to kind of add to that white on there, maybe adding some white splatters. Let's see, coming out with more hot foil plates. This next release in a week might make some people really happy. So I'll just leave it at that. Liam might even have a sneak peek of those for live this Thursday. So just gonna leave it at that. We are kind of hot foil crazy now, so I can definitely say that. Let's do it. Let's just add a few white splatters on there before we commit and finish this off. Let's see. All right, so I can mix them in. Just use inexpensive white acrylic paint. Mix it with water. You can just do it on a clear block or in a palette or whatever. I do them enough that I keep some. Which ones do I have that are? I keep some mixed up, but you know what? I'm just going to do the ones on a clear block for now to add these. And you can make it as thick or as thin as you want. I usually add just a smidge of water, just to kind of help it mix and spread a little bit better. But the less you do, the more thick they'll be. I'm going to keep this pretty thick. I actually just added a little teeny bit of water there. Okay, I don't know how well these will show up in the video, but hoping you can see. And as I'm adding them, I'm already loving what that's doing. I'm probably gonna have splatters all over my desk. This box does a fairly good job of protecting, but definitely doesn't totally do it. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. Clean that off. And more layering stencils. This next release might make someone else really happy too then. I'd say there's a lot in this next release and it's all really exciting and fun. Okay, so now we got that on there. So now that's gonna need a few minutes to dry, of course. So this is where think we're going to trim this into a little banner shape. What Leah said, we're pretty much all just about as addicted to them as everyone else. Ooh, yes, okay, hold on. I'm going to take a second and clean white paint splatters on my desk. Sure. On my laptop, I might prefer to keep those off. So let me just clean those off real quick because I don't normally, ooh, I need to be careful. I'm afraid I'm gonna click out of something and ruin the live here. Some of them were on my mouse pad. I should have maybe covered that up. But let's get the other paint splatters that I can kind of see in a hurry. And I told you those kind of get everywhere. A lot of times lately, my husband probably would hate it for our carpet. But I have found myself doing those splatters with the box, but going down to my floor to do it. Again, that might stress them out, but I figure they're probably hitting it anyway. So, and they're really tiny, so you never notice. You won't tell, right? He knows this is my craft room. I mean, if we ever pull this carpet up, do you know how many sequins and how much glitter and bling and jewels we're going to find? Linda, yes. I'm so much winging it that I'm looking on here going, is there anything else I want to do? Or are we done? I only knew that I was going to blend and heat emboss in white, and I didn't even know exactly how it was going to turn out. So it was one of those fingers crossed kind of moments. Hi, Betty. Welcome. Okay, let's go ahead and tack this on a touch of foam adhesive. That should do it. Is that too wide? Yep. Using another one of our pre-cut foam panels and a little more of, right, he'll never know unless he watches this live and tattle on myself, right? Well, and it's a little more creative for me because my craft room, if you look at when the video is front facing for me, it's also my daughters, I homeschool them. They go part-time into a couple classes. They're actually there today. But we've homeschooled, so it's also the schoolroom. Although my oldest daughter actually graduates this year. I can't quite believe that. And then my second daughter is only a year behind. They were close in age. So it's going to be kind of fun. I'm going to play it safe here. I don't know if that white paint is fully dry, so I don't want to turn it over. So I'm just going to put my panel of foam here on my card base. And then I can just adhere this down. Letters. Another one of those things. Right, and as I'm looking on here, I feel like I got that on there crooked. I wonder if I can pry that up without causing too much damage. Of course, this is like the super sturdy, crazy score tape that is made to hold like nuts so crazy. It's just a little crooked. Can you please straighten out just a little? Okay, I think I got it enough there just by pulling that edge off. All right, this is going to be pretty simple, but let's go ahead and add a little bit of bling on here. Let's see, so jewels or crystals? I definitely love the pink. I love the green. I love the white. I think we're going to go crystals today. Feels like this just needs that total sparkle. Hi, Bella. Welcome even late. I'm glad you're here. All right. Get all the lids off of these. It'll definitely be there for replay, so. little one of the clear, I think. I might use the exact, oh, put those in the right one. I might just use the same cluster. Start with pink, medium of the green, and then a little white one to finish off. I've just found I do better dumping them in my hand. I have a better luck at getting a hold of them, I feel like, so. Okay, fiddle with those a little. Okay, back at the right packaging there. And then we'll adhere these down and wrap this show up. Crystals pointy side down. I do the more flat part, the kind of faceted. That's my preference. So then the pointy end sticks up. I know it doesn't make them super male friendly, but it keeps them a little bit more flat. Yes, and they are supposed to be restocked here very soon. So I'm feeling better about doing this to you guys here. I'm gonna grab, there we go. Make sure my point isn't clogged. I always like to test that not on my card, because if that decides to plug up, it's really not fun. And then, whoop, I just do a little tiny dot of Glossy Accents. That's my favorite way to adhere these down. It dries nice and clear. So I don't even know if it shows up enough on the camera for you to be able to tell, but when I first adhere them down, it always seems to look like that Glossy Accents. It removes the pretty shine of them just temporarily. Once it dries, it comes back because that glue is going to dry clear and sparkly and work really well with that. All right, let's clean that. This glue, I think I just said it's Glossy Accents, a little bottle. I just get a fine tip to put on the end of it so that it works. All right, let's see if I can hold that up a little bit. Move all the other stuff off the desk here. And so you can see the little bit of bling. I'm going to turn it a little so you can kind of see, hopefully that shows kind of how that pointy tip is sticking out there. But there we go. Stenciled, stamped, heat embossed, a little bit of white splatter. A simple little sentiment. Super fun. All right, I'm going to flip the camera back around. It does kind of look like a vintage wallpaper. That's a good description. Again, I didn't know. Oh, real quick. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. This is just a Studio Katia embellishment tool. I've had this one for a while. I think they're a little hard to get right now. Another one I use a lot is the Crystal Katana. So this one's just sparkly. So honestly, I grabbed this one out because it shows up better. So when I grab one, that's kind of by default the one I grab, but they both work really well. Okay, let's flip this camera around and let me make sure I haven't missed any questions or comments along the way. Thanks for sticking out with me today. This was maybe even less prepared than my usual winging it, because all I knew was the stenciling and the heat embossing and the pink cardstock. I didn't even have a die out to die cut the panel, so I grabbed that as we went along. So that would be a great Mother's Day card. You could easily change your sentiment and make it a Mother's Day card. Some of our, I don't remember which one they are, but I think there's a happy, Leo might remember the set. Let me look real quick and see. Keep this one here, yes. Phrase builder, happy. That would be perfect for this because it's got, you see it on there, happy. You've got mothers, got day on there. So you could even turn it into a Mother's Day card. So there you go. There's another. Dana, don't worry, it'll be available for replay. So you can definitely catch and rewatch that again. Thank you everyone who joined me. I'm just waiting for Leah to announce a winner. I don't think I missed it yet. And again, make sure and check in on Thursday for Facebook Live. That most likely will be Leah coming at you from Texas. They're staying down there a little extra. And she will be sneak peeking the new release. that happens next week. Thank you, Anne. Both Annes, different names on their, yes, and that sentiment. I love that. That's why we send cards, right? Little hugs. Okay, and there's today's winner. Leah just announced congratulations to Estelle. I don't even know if I want to try and pronounce her last name. Wujkik? I'm sure I said that completely wrong, but Estelle or Estella, I don't even know for sure on that. Congratulations. Make sure and email Leah, Lea, at pinkfreshstudio.com to claim your prize. Give her 2 to 3 days, especially since she's out of town and keeping up with her email kind of on vacation. So thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you back on Thursday for Facebook Live. Also this Saturday, we have a very special guest for Craft Hour with Jeff Lindbergh. So make sure and check that out. We're really excited about the new guests we have this week. So I won't give the secret away yet because I don't know when it's going to be told. So I'm sure you'll hear more on Thursday. All right. See everybody later.